I really do not condone indiscipline, open or tacit or otherwise, that is really eating away the struggle. You are aware, Doctor, that people are being hired by the party to abuse others and paid. These are issues that really undermine our effort. So we can handle together those issues, and we shall someday find a common ground. Grace, there's no law, outrageous enrollments. Well, I'll hesitate to use the word outrageous, but I think why I said this conversation needs to be opened up and not narrowed to the issues at play. Maybe there have been suggestions to putting up a salary and enrollments commission to deal with. I remember there was a scandal about 2-3 years ago in the UK about the emoluments of members of the House of Commons, and eventually the settlement of this was that they put up an emoluments commission, and I think it settled the score because there was public outrage that these servants in the public space overrating their service and therefore fleecing the taxpayer. The conversation broadly should focus on this. Probably we can get at parity on how this was done, or this can be done. Were they meeting at headquarters? Yes, an informal meeting, a meeting that lasted about 30 minutes, chaired by the president. He almost spoke alone with a charge sheet, and a charge sheet, then a complaint and a charge sheet, then he was a judge and declared his intentions. I am a person who respects the rule of law. I try to advise the president on what should have been done. There was even effort by some people to advise him on how to handle this kind of matter, because there was not a party organ sitting. A few people gathered around. He was in a hurry to fix it, and that's why I left the meeting. If I had offered what he claimed, it should have been done there and then. So that's not a matter I want to really dwell on right now. I think it is comforting for my president to speak about that in those terms, such that he accuses somebody of being corrupt and then says, I have forgiven him, as if he were a DPP issuing a no prosecute. So some of these things should be put into context. And when we put the proper lenses on our eyes, we can understand the migration of that issue and how it has been handled by the party leadership, from one place to another, from press conferences at funerals, into musical lyrics. Then you get to understand that the intention not to deal with the problem, but probably to deal with an individual. But like I said, as a human being, I'm not strong enough to deal with a mob. I can only retreat and allow particular institutions to deal with the matter. So how do you deal with those in musical concerts? How do you do the poets? Am I going to run with the president at the funerals, self-explain everywhere? I think we need to give space for others. Sarah, your conversation about ethical leaders is appreciated, but leaders should not be put into public parks for mob justice. When there is an issue, whoever is complaining, because that's what we want to really stop, because he's run our country like really in a mob justice way. We cannot do the same things that he does. So what will happen when we are the leaders and they're challenging the country? Shall we set the country on fire and then solve the problem? I think we need to start listening to each other and then conceptualize issues and then find a solution. If every time we find somebody handling a matter in a manner we don't agree, put them in a public park and lynch them without having space for a logical conversation on how to solve it, I disagree with the approach. Helen, the achievements of Hon Mpuuga were even forgotten. Well, my achievements can be forgotten by individuals who are ungrateful. But for the people of Uganda, for whom I saved billions of money while I was low, for those for whom I looked for their people that disappeared, and I almost located many of them. It's no longer an issue. Mpuuga is the issue. You can understand. The issue of Honorable Kyagulanyi not getting a DP ticket, can I advise you, my sister, that the National Council has powers to lift that if they have desired. So it was not a closed shop. It was the desire of the party. the question of calling a national council, and that would be lifted. So there was no opportunity for that to be achieved for Hon Mpuuga to get the ticket. Juliana, allow me.
Thank you. Yes, I was going to say thank you so much.
Almost 3 hours.
It's not easy. Yes. It's not easy.
I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
I want to appreciate you for facilitating this.
No.
Thank Dr.
Mm-hmm.
and my brother Sammy.
Thank you.
I appreciate their concerns. We may not agree on some of the issues and how they have been handled.
Yeah.
I am sure eventually when Dr. Spire gets to understand how their well-intentioned exhibition was manipulated by self-seekers, they'll be frustrated by them. But in all, I appreciate, I am for public accountability. I am not for mob justice.
Okay.
I thank you most sincerely.
Thank you so much for graciously taking the time to come in and speak to us. This space is recorded, so we'll carry on a little bit, maybe another 10 minutes or 15 so you can hear later what is said. But I am truly grateful to you for taking the trouble to come and join us. And it hasn't been an easy space, so it's not a walk in the park. But thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, and have an excellent evening and a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Anytime.
Bye. Hello. So, the Honorable Mpuuga has had to go, but that doesn't mean we can't. He'll listen in later to our discussion. So we won't have any more people, I think, join in because, like he said, we've been here for hours, and tomorrow's Monday. So I will bring in Mordecai. No, Dr. William, then Mordecai. Dr. William, did you?
Yeah, just I wanted to ask Hon Abed Bwanika, but I think he has left. I want to know how he will restore public trust and confidence in his leadership. That was my question.
Okay, thank you very much. Mordecai, did you have a comment?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this space. It's unfortunate I wasn't able to ask the Honorable the question I wanted to ask, but I find it extremely disrespectful that he went on casting an aspersion to the reasons that were raised. First of all, I call it insulting our own intelligence when he tells us that Abed Bwanika, whatever he does it on his own. He stands with him. He says all this nonsense, standing right beside him. It is a matter of firing him or finding another person to speak on his behalf. I mean, one thing I really heard about politicians is lying with straight faces. He stands with this man. He goes, he knows, he carries him everywhere he goes. Then he comes and says that, maybe we can find a way of solving this problem. No, he's doing his bidding, and he sends him to do it because he wants to hide under some sort of honorable stature. So it is very important that, he even came here and continued to lie. And then in a country where we know the standards of living, we know the levels of poverty, unemployment, and stuff, there's no way whatsoever you can allocate yourself this kind of money. What happened to patriotism? He could be the person that says, hey, I'm actually giving out my salary, but he continues to defend all these, for lack of, I don't want to use that language I was going to say, but I was just heartbroken, and I hope that you have him another time because I have so many questions, and he's not going to hide, in these very, very funny defenses. I'm sorry that I was just mad when he defended Abed Bwanika.
Okay, thank you very much. Edgar.
Well, thank you so much, Rihanna. It's unfortunate that I didn't find Honorable here, but my question was why he's always hiding in the kingdom. Every time they would ask him about the service award, he would hide himself in the kingdom. I don't know why he could do that.
Okay, thank you so much. Jonan, would you like to unmute?
Yes, thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Yes, I think most of the points have been raised. My issue was on the other emoluments where he hides a lot and says the VP gets this, the retired speakers get this. All these are in the law. They were discussed. Legal committees sat, finance committees sat. Whether it is immoral for a former speaker to be, who was previously a deputy speaker and a speaker, getting double the gratuity, it was discussed. It is legal. The Attorney General has received, I think, some money recently. It was immoral because he has served and he has gratuity, but it was discussed. It becomes legal. His was not discussed anywhere. We want him to prove and show a document and say, under the Parliamentary Commission budget, it was written here, commissioners are getting this money, the finance committee or the legal committees discussed it. He should stop hiding in other emoluments
Okay.
which are already legal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The last one was on the kingdom. They have raised it.
Okay.
You should and establishing the image of the kingdom. People will think all things now still and hide behind the kingdom.
Okay.
Please, 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 still alone. We ask you accountability. Stop hiding in Uganda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to close up because it's been a very, very long afternoon. So really, I can't have, unfortunately, everybody speak. Karim, then Kabulwa, and then we'll go back to Sam and Jimmy. And I think we'll call it a day, and MP out. And I think that's it, really. I can't, we can't go on indefinitely. Okay. Would you like, Henry, I called you, but unfortunately you didn't respond. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Juliana. I'm sorry I wasn't able to speak when the Honorable was on. My worry was on the comfort in the entitlement. People are really, really comfortable with the entitlements, whereas these service awards wouldn't have been a challenge in retrospect. My biggest challenge is why effective immediately. And the reason I'm saying that is you're looking at 1.7 billion Ugandan shillings given amongst 4 people in a space of 2 years. That money is bigger than the budget of primary schools in each of those people's constituencies. There could have been other ways of sharing that money. One, it could have been, okay, we are going to increase some money into your social security so that the money is in the government coffers, but the Ugandans are benefiting from it. The other way would have been like, okay, if you have served as leader of opposition at 65 years or at 68 years to retirement, we shall give you this money. But the idea that effective immediately you are entitled to that money, it's like Ugandans owe you. It's like you have done this great service that we must get into our pockets to give you another 500 million Uganda shillings on top of the money that you have been getting. So there would have been other ways in case they wanted that to pass as law. But the idea that this money is effective immediately is what throws us off. And I think it's one of the reasons why everyone looks at it as immoral, as a corrupt process. I will have to stop.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kabulwa, please come in. Hello. Okay, he's not there. MP out. Oh,
thank you, Rihanna. I'm just going to be so brief. My observations from Hon Abed Bwanika is that he continuously blame people, like accusing us of maybe blackmailing him and all that, like saying some people have been getting money to blackmail him, fight him, and all that. But what I'm very sure is that when Lopo was when he was still leader of opposition, he used to give so many social media users to promote his agendas and all that. So he think like whoever is talking against him, he's paid, especially like most social media users. Like getting money to fight him. But being a politician, you can't avoid people. Like, you will always have people who are fighting you, but there is always that big cause. And if you are corrupt, even those that are opposing you, they will join the others. So it is normal. You shouldn't take advantage over that. I think finally, I want to say, like, I want also to tell him, if maybe he listens after, like, he should stop hiding under the kingdom, under Buganda. It is wrong. We are all Baganda, but we are not going to say, like, because he's a Muganda, so he should take the money because he's a Muganda. This is wrong. We should appreciate, like, this is a country that goes beyond being a Muganda. Me, I'm a Muganda and I'm Mlangira, but doesn't matter. I'm a Ugandan first, and I respect that. So let's respect other people also.
Thank you so much. Kabulwa, are you there? Can you speak?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. Briefly.
Briefly. Thanks a lot for hosting. And for me, my submission was that I wanted to actually ask Honorable Mpuuga about the fact that he distances himself from what Honorable Abed Bwanika does. And in the same line, I still wanted to question the fact that they always assert that NUP has homosexuals. I mean, I wanted to ask them how him and Abed Bwanika transitioned from being homosexuals to being straight, because they assert that the party has homosexuals, and then how do they transition from being homosexuals to the other side? They could tell us better.
Okay, thank you. Wow, Henry, are you there? No. Okay.
Yes,
Okay, Henry, please
thank you
be
so much.
brief, because I called you earlier and you were not there. Please be brief. We need to close.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry I missed my earlier opportunity. I'm driving somewhere, so I missed it a
Please
little bit. But
okay,
I
that's
want
fine.
to appreciate you. I want to appreciate you for hosting this conversation. It has been mainly civil and very courteous. I hope we can continue engaging in these very difficult conversations courteously. I wanted Honorable Mpuuga, and I hope he's going to listen to this conversation. Number one, to state a few facts. He is one of the folks who discussed the gratuity, and he did not excuse himself. That in itself is a conflict of interest. Now, whether it is legal and it's how the structures of Ugandan parliament are set up, that is a conversation we need to engage in. But first and foremost, he needs to acknowledge that him engaging in that discussion without recusing himself tantamounts to a conflict of interest. And I hope he can reflect on that and engage in that conversation more rationally as an not just as elite, but also as someone who has invested a lot of time in leadership based on his resume, obviously.
Thank you.
I also want to state another fact that notwithstanding some political machinations that might be surrounding this conversation, I think the question you asked earlier in regard to whether he's willing to donate the $500 million to a charity or a teachers association or to a doctors association, that is something that he should consider. I think he should also consider getting another spokesperson, because Mr. Bwanika or Dr. Bwanika is not doing him any favors. And some of us are saying all this because we have a lot of expectations of him. We still believe he's a great leader, and we still believe in his leadership. But he needs to accept certain things so that he can restore our trust in the Ugandan political system. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank
Talk
you.
to you
I
soon.
have to apologize to people who haven't had a chance to speak, but we've been here for hours. And Sam is always very gracious in coming, and even Dr. Spire. So, Sam, would you like to say your closing remarks, and then Jimmy can close the space? Again, Dr. Eve, as usual, you angel, thank you so, so much for all your assistance this afternoon. Thank you. I owe you. Sam, would you like to come in, and then Jimmy, and we'll close.
Yes, thank you. I really have said all that I had to say, but there is one thing that I want to point out. I think the Honorable alluded to the public square, mob justice, whereby people are coming out to speak. We need to appreciate that the public opinion does not have any organized institution where it can express itself. People speak from wherever they are. It is the duty of those that have an institutionalized voice to then, pick on what the people are saying and work on it in an institutionalized manner. And I think that we also need to remember that every time we are not, especially we in opposition, every time we are not satisfied with what institutions do, for example, when the Electoral Commission announces its results, it has the mandate to do that. We normally say that we will revert to the court of public opinion. Now, when that court of public opinion is in our favor, we feel that it is the ultimate sovereign voice. So we should, in equal measure, accept its sanction when it goes against us, not to invoke it when it targets those that we are opposed to, and then seek to delegitimize it when it is speaking to us. The point on which I would really agree with the Honorable is that we need to revisit the law.
Sam, I've lost you. I knew this would happen. Sam, are you there? Okay.
Can you be a public servant who determines your own emolument? So I think that on that, I hope that he will.
Sam, I've lost you. I can't hear you anymore. I don't know. Dr. Eve, can you hear Sam?
No, I think he has a problem with.
Can you hear me
No,
now?
you. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Dr. Eve.
Yes.
Go on. Would you like to?
Yes.
Please finish.
As I conclude, I think that we need a public servants emolument commission, just like we have the Judicial Service Commission, to determine the payment, the emoluments of all public servants, so that we don't have this conflict of interest. Thank you for organizing this platform, and I wish everybody a good week, a fruitful week ahead. Bye and good night.
Thank you, Sam, as usual. Dr. Spire, would you like to come in and close off the space, please?
Yeah, thank you, Juliana, for organizing this space, and all the participants for what I think has been a very interesting discussion. It brings to light a number of things that have been in contestation, more clarity, but also more contradictions, more questions, which I think is progress in some way, although it shouldn't have been that way. Yeah, I see there have been over 1,000+ comments. This is quite interesting that all these people have had interest in this matter, and it shows how important it is to so many people, not only because of the person of Honorable Mpuuga, but the wider implications, because this is a precedent. That's why we think that if it's not handled carefully, it can lead to so many other things that generally unacceptable. And when this issue of saying that maybe the public has been the judge or the prosecutor and all that, I think it's partly because efforts to get explanations have been suffocated in many ways. This matter, there have been attempts to table it on Parliament. We saw Honorable Sechikubo trying to table it, and he was told that what he was trying to say is nonsense. There has been this effort of trying to bring up the censor motion, which I think is not to mean that censuring them is going to be done directly, arbitrarily. It's an invitation to a discussion of the matter and see if indeed there is a case, or if indeed what they are being accused of is true or not. And I think they would have welcomed this with open arms, saying, okay, this is our opportunity to explain what has been, as some have been saying, that this is just hearsay. But when they keep running away from it, when you hear these stories of trying to block, trying to blackmail some of the people that have signed, and going there to say, even if you sign, nothing is going to happen, it gives an impression that they are hiding something. So really the public is angry because of what they are hiding, or they are running away from accountability, despite the fact that they want to hold everyone else to accountability, and it's our money that is being wasted. But overall, I think there is a blessing in disguise in this discussion, even when certain things have been lost. And that blessing is that it has triggered a lot of discussion, even casting a torch into our opposition. I think for so long, our opposition has not really been discussed critically about what is happening there. What I mentioned earlier, that there are so many people we've trusted all along, thinking that they are on our side. And when I say our side, I mean the side of the sufferers, the oppressed, the side of those who feel that things need to be done differently, especially in terms of being fairer to the taxpayer. But to realize that they are part of the haste, to realize that they are part of the looting, the syndicates that we see in Parliament. So when those people have been called out, and when the discussions have extended, in some cases, into NOOP and how NOOP is being managed, when Honorable Mpuuga is also trying to fight back by raising accountability questions, I think generally all that is good, because everyone has to be accountable. No one has to be raised to a level where they are beyond being asked for accountability. But lastly, it's absurd, as I said earlier, and painful seeing and listening to Honorable Mpuuga and all that profile, and with the belief, at least personally, that I hold, that he's a person that would or has the potential of serving in many other ways, of helping the country in many other ways. To see that where this matter started from, and I think it would have been handled differently, but where he committed himself to a position of saying that I was not wrong, I don't see an error there, and therefore he has to continue down the rabbit hole, and that's where we see the Hon Abed Bwanika coming in and taking him into that what I would call a pig fight, where he also has to roll in the mud, and where you know that ultimately he's going to come out dirty, yet the rest have nothing to lose. Many of them, their reputations are already so terribly damaged. So I don't know at what point he can get and realize that, no, I think I have something to protect. Some of these people have nothing. If mostly what is coming out is this service award that is being faulted for, maybe he doesn't need to be sacrificed. But from the way I see things, maybe it will turn out differently. So thank you so much, Juliana. Thanks everyone for sharing your opinions, and I hope the discussion continues. Let this not be taken in a spirit of fighting anyone, because I wouldn't have a problem with Honorable Mpuuga or any other politician for that matter. What we want is a better country, a country that serves all of us, and not just that we protect individuals, even if we might want those individuals so much in to help us do other things. So let's continue in that spirit. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who came in. We had over 150 requests to speak. It was impossible to get everybody in. So I apologize to the people who didn't get to speak. I wasn't accepting anybody. Dr. Eve did a wonderful job of helping me because I simply couldn't. Therefore, if you didn't get to speak, it wasn't because of some personal vendetta. I don't know anybody much beyond maybe 10 or 15 people on this space. So I have no reason to personally not allow people to speak. It's just the way the algorithm works and who comes up and who doesn't. So I didn't see you, nothing personal. To the people who think that I didn't bring them up or I didn't let them speak because nalia nze silya nnyo ndi mukyala munabuddu simala galya buli wensanze ne kanasa. So please put that to rest, but it is hilarious. Thank you so much to Sam, as usual, to Dr. Eve, to Jimmy Spire, and to all the lovely people who've taken the time, all Ugandans, to participate in this. I think the conversation continues. I think people have every right to be angry given, the state of affairs in the country. It's perfectly understandable. We cannot exhaust the topic in one sitting, but we will be back next weekend to continue the conversations on another topic. But thank you so much for those people who've taken the time to come and join us. Have an excellent week. Stay safe and continue